They said the first word on Mars came from a lion's roar. Dr. Elara Voss expected static when she played the feed from the habitat enclosure. Instead, the air vibrated in perfect rhythm. 6 lion cubs, bioengineered to survive radiation, purred in harmonic unison. The monitor translated their frequency bursts into written language. Mother is coming. Her partner, linguist Romeo Coro, stared at the data stream. That's syntax, not coincidence. Mars trembled. Dust spiraled into towering funnels outside Kepler-9 station, lightning crawling through their cores as though the planet were whispering back. The cubs' purrs deepened until glass quivered. The message changed. She hears you. Earth had bred them to mimic alien tones recorded decades earlier, hoping to decode the first extrasolar signal. Instead, the cubs became transmitters. Within hours, every colony beacon on the planet carried their sound. Across humanity's network, static turned to song. Elara refused to abandon them when command ordered containment. You don't silence the first conversation between worlds, she said. That night, one cub, tiny, for streaked with silver, placed a paw on the glass. Her pulse merged with Elara's own. The scientist glimpsed images not her own, deserts lit by twin moons, beasts flying through golden storms, then fire, worlds burning under alien claws. She gasped free. Their memory, not mutation, she told Rami. They remember who built them. By dawn, metallic shapes streaked through the violet sky, landing in concentric circles around the base. Figures tall and feline, armored in living metal, eyes shining the same amber as the cubs. They approached without weapons, but moved with deadly grace. The cubs broke their barrier in a single unified cry. The field dissolved into shimmering air. The largest alien knelt, lifted the silver-streaked cub, and sang in a voice so low the ground bowed to it. Translation software flickered, struggling to keep up. Sleep, children of dust. Your mother rises. Beyond the craters, dunes sank inward. Something vast stirred beneath. The outline of wings made a stormlight stretching kilometers wide. Every instrument died except one, the cub's steady heartbeat. A voice filled the stillness, neither male nor female, old as gravity itself. You taught them your words. Now you will learn ours. The desert roared, and Mars prepared to answer. His sound struck like gravity. One moment, stillness. The next, a roaring pulse that seemed to move through stone, blood, and thought all at once. Dr. Elara Voss dropped to her knees inside the control dome as dust avalanched from the ceiling. Outside, the dunes shuddered and split. From the crack rose the thing that had called itself Mother. Its wings weren't flesh or metal, but storm fields woven from static light, an organism shaped like weather. Romeo Coro barely whispered, "That's not a ship." "It's alive," Elara said. We woke her. Every Martian base lost signal except Kepler-9. The alien visitors, tall, feline, radiant, stood motionless facing the yawning chasm, cubs cradled in their arms like relics. The silver-streaked cub whined softly. The sound became a command that rippled through both human and alien alike. "Kneel." Elara fought the compulsion, bracing against a flickering console. Human muscles, she reminded herself, were electric systems too. She forced her fingers to type emergency commands, isolating frequencies, trying to capture data before every circuit burned. Rami, record everything. History's writing itself in real time. The sky deepened indigo as Mother's wings folded inward. Solar radiation dropped by half. Mars's temperature climbed as if the planet were briefly given an atmosphere. Elara watched frost melt into vapor for the first time. Then came the voice again, older and closer. "Your kind found our song and caged it inside their young. You made our children translators, prisms to twist our language. But they are not tools." Elara shouted toward the storm. "We meant knowledge, not harm. You left the recordings. We only want to understand." The reply boomed through every frequency band. "Understanding is ownership in your tongue." Rami looked sick. She's not wrong. The first thing we do with anything new is name it. Outside, the alien warriors spread into defensive arcs, claws crackling with blue fire. Shadows moved across the sky, hundreds of descending craft. Human reinforcements from orbit, Earth headquarters had chosen fear over discovery. Missiles cut through thin air like silver needles. The feline host raised their arms. Sound waves erupted from their throats. The projectiles veered aside, detonating harmlessly in midair. The war began before any species officially declared it. Elara ran to the comm station. "Stop the attack!" she screamed, opening a channel to the flagship Hawking Dawn. "You're targeting sentient life." Only garbled static returned, and through the static, collateral inevitable. A spear of lightning from Mother sliced the sky, reducing the nearest cruiser to white ash. The shock wave rippled through the colony. Glass disintegrated into sparkling dust. Rami slammed against the wall, bleeding. "They'll kill the Cubs, too," he choked. "She'll see that as murder." Elara crawled to the enclosure, now just an open circle of sand. The Cubs, her cubs, huddled, trembling not from fear but from resonance. They were harmonizing with Mother, bridging the frequencies between alien and human. Each vibration stabilized the ground around them. They were trying to hold the planet still. She pressed her palm to the smallest one's head. "Sigma, listen to me. Tell her we want peace. Tell her we didn't know." The cub looked up. Its eyes glowed until a reflection vanished in them, replaced by a swirl of galaxies. A pulse traveled from its chest through her arm, searing cold and blinding heat. Words flooded her skull, not spoken but printed across every neuron. Images of ancient wars fought by voices alone. Planets shattered by symphonies too loud for matter to bear. She understood then. Mother had destroyed before. Speech was her weapon, resonance, her sword. Elara staggered to her feet. She uses sound to reshape matter. If she reaches full amplitude, Mars will... Rami finished, sing itself apart. Above them, Mother's wings unfolded again. The pressure lifted stones from the ground. Rami grabbed Elara's wrist. If sound built her, maybe equal sound can silence her. "The Cubs," she said, "their harmonics are inverse. They were meant to interpret her, but maybe they can counter her." Together, they herded the 6 trembling creatures to the open air. The feline aliens watched but did not interfere. Perhaps they too understood necessity. Rami set a portable transmitter to maximum gain, feeding back the Cubs hum 3 octaves higher. The valley filled with overlapping chords, a choir of earth and something older. The sand froze mid-flight, every grain suspended in a web of perfect symmetry. Mother paused. A new voice echoed through the storm, faint yet distinct, coming from the Cubs themselves. Not the warning phrase this time, but an appeal. "We are both. Let US speak for all." For the first time, the great wings folded inward in hesitation. Heat drained away. Silence fell like snow. Elara's heartbeat thundered in the vacuum of quiet. Rami whispered, "Did we just win?" The ground answered with a single pulse. The Cubs collapsed unconscious, their fur smoking where light had kissed it. Mother's form began to condense, lightning turning bone white, wings shrinking into a humanoid silhouette. Her voice, when it returned, was scarcely louder than breath. "Then show me what peace sounds like." The air ignited around them, vision dissolving to brightness, but not fire. Music, whether salvation or annihilation, Elara couldn't tell. She only held the Cubs close as the universe itself took a deep, trembling breath. Everything turned white, and then the whiteness breathed. Dr. Elara Voss awakened inside a sky that wasn't sky, more like the inside of a living lens. Mars's surface floated below her, distant, curved like an idea rather than a planet. Around her, sound shimmered into color. Every breath left ripples of coral light. Romeo coral hovered nearby, clutching a handful of motionless Cubs. Their fur smoldered faintly at the edges, yet they were alive. Each heartbeat shone through their small chests like lanterns. At first, Elara thought they had died, and the scene was metaphor. Then she realized they were inside one of Mother's frequencies, a dimension folded into vibration. Physics repurposed as a chamber of thought. Mother's voice arrived without direction, simultaneously gentle and absolute. "Do not fear. Sound shapes memory. You are within the echo between your attack and mine." Elara tried to speak, but words came out as tones. Still, meaning transmitted. "You pause time. A slow consequence. Below them, motionless streams of fire hung across the frozen Martian sky. Human warships gleamed like decorations suspended mid-explosion. The feline warriors stood unmoving, statues of wrath. Rami whispered, "You stop destruction mid-note. Choice requires silence," the voice replied. Then quiet, pure and immense. It felt like standing inside forgiveness that might change its mind. Elara steadied herself. "If we're to make peace, you have to understand us, too. Humans fear what speaks in tongues louder than theirs." Mother answered with something that could almost have been laughter, like chords resolving after centuries. "Your species equates volume with strength, yet you listen poorly even to yourselves." The cubs stirred. Their combined hum spread warm through the void, creating a faint bridge of solid sound beneath them. Shapes appeared along it, memories or explanations. The rise of Mother Civilization. Beings who learned to communicate through harmonic matter, then destroyed one another competing to control the loudest voice. The final survivors sealed their consciousness in biological echo chambers, the lion forms, to awake calmer minds. Elara finally saw the cruel symmetry. Humanity had discovered that echo and weaponized it before ever deciphering the warning embedded inside. She felt something close to shame, the uniquely human variety that burns and teaches simultaneously. "We repeat your mistake," she admitted. "That is evolution," Mother said, "but not progress." Rami looked at the paralyzed battlefield below. "If you resume time, both sides die. Unless translation saves them," came the reply. The cubs opened their eyes, 6 bright suns reflecting Elara's disbelief. Their harmonics expanded, seeding ripples to the suspended war. Each ripple translated emotion into pure tone. Somewhere inside every frozen soldier, human or alien, understanding dawned without words. Elara felt their collective memories brushing her mind. A child drawing lines on classroom walls, a Martian miner whispering a lullaby across comm static, a dying alien remembering its first hatchling's purr. Each image vibrated at human heartbeat tempo, 72 beats per minute. Fact met feeling. Biology met myth. Then Mother spoke again. "Tell them the decision is yours. You woke my grief. Perhaps you will guide its ending." The soundscape darkened into crimson. Time prepared to resume. Elara grasped Rami's forearm. "If we don't mediate, they restart. I know. Everyone moves at once. Nobody survives." She bent to the cubs. "Little ones, translate life, not language." Their purring intensified, weaving around her words. Frequencies aligned into a single sustained chord that seemed to anchor her nerves to the horizon. Mother whispered, half warning, half blessing. "When the note breaks, the universe remembers its key. Hold it long enough, that becomes peace." Light flared. The frozen universe lurched forward. Explosions resumed, but without heat or shrapnel, each blast dispersing as harmless sound. Missiles decomposed into vibration, falling like musical rain. Human pilots lost all weapon locks. Alien warriors fell to their knees, claws sinking into sand not from injury, but awe. For one miraculous minute, Mars sang, not war, but equilibrium. Elara collapsed to ground, ears bleeding, vision fractured into mosaics of light and dust. Rami dragged her under a half-standing wall. "You did it," he said hoarsely. She smiled weakly. The cubs did. Sigma, the silver-streaked one, wobbled to her and nuzzled her hand. The hum in its chest was getting weaker. "No, no, stay with me," she whispered, wrapping it in her lab coat. Across the plain, Mother's vast form was flickering. Every harmonic gesture that preserved peace was eroding her resonance. She was sacrificing herself to stabilize the frequencies. Elara realized too late that equilibrium demanded a cost. She screamed toward the thinning sky, "Stop! You'll vanish." "Silence must live somewhere," Mother answered softly. "Today it will live within your species." The colossal wings disintegrated into millions of tiny golden motes, each drifting upward until nothing remained but sky. The aliens bowed their heads. The war stilled. Finally, absolute quiet stretched over Mars. Elara looked down at Sigma, now utterly still, a faint light fading from its fur. She felt Rami's hand steadying her shoulder and heard only the echo of their own breathing. Two humans, a ruined horizon, an impossible memory of a song that had saved a planet. Yet somewhere deep in the sand beneath them, faint vibrations continued, a heartbeat learning a new rhythm. The Cubs were translating again. Mars had given humanity its first alien war, and its first silence that didn't mean defeat. Weeks later, Kepler-9's broken domes gleamed under a thin sunrise. Engineers picked through the wreckage. Botanists tested air that now carried faint traces of oxygen. The event had rewritten the atmosphere slightly, something no human technology had managed. Elara Voss filled her lungs with the new air and thought it tasted like grief. The Cubs slept in transparent stasis pods fashioned from repurposed habitat glass. Their heartbeats formed the colony's only clock, slow, luminous beats that synchronized power systems better than any generator. Scientists call them an organic algorithm. Elara refused to call them anything but her children. Rami Okoro was still half-deaf from the resonance storm. He spent days transcribing what he could recall of mother's frequencies onto ordinary notation paper, convinced the patterns hid instructions. She gave us a blueprint, not a farewell, he insisted. Elara wanted to believe him, but bureaucracy had other priorities. Earth's Recovery Command dispatched inspectors under the polite title delegation for containment. They arrived aboard the Vigilance, bringing laws, orders, and a habit of pointing guns at what they didn't comprehend. Their leader, Captain Lin Yarrow, listened to Elara's summary, then smiled with the efficiency of someone measuring threat levels. Doctor, the Cubs will be relocated to Earth for control study. We can't risk another acoustic incident. Rami answered before she could. If you remove them, the equilibrium collapses. Mother's song is still resonating through this planet's crust. The Cubs are the tuning forks keeping it stable. Yarrow raised an eyebrow. That's superstition. Elara met his gaze. It's data. Without them, Mars remembers being at war. For once, metaphor and math were the same. The captain signed transfer protocols anyway. Soldiers prepared cryocarriers while Elara watched, powerless. She felt like a midwife watching a child turned into evidence. That night, the first tremors returned. Small, almost affectionate, but unmistakable. Alarms flared crimson again. The Cubs awoke inside their pods, eyes bright with terrified recognition. They roared in unison, not loud, but urgent, speaking directly into minds rather than air. She sleeps below. Do not move, U.S. The soldiers collapsed, clutching their ears. Instruments spiked beyond measurable decibels, though the sound was whisper quiet. Rami ran to control board, scanning tremor readouts. Epicenter's right under the crater. She's intact. Elara's thoughts raced. If Mother had left a fragment of herself behind, an echo, that echo could be waking now, sensing separation anxiety from her children. Or worse, anger. Captain Yarrow, pale but stubborn, barked. Sedate them and continue transport. The team armed sonic tranquilizers. The Cubs' eyes flared. Rami seized Elara's arm. If they think they're under attack, they'll call her back. Outside, lightning began without clouds. Arcs of energy leapt between communication towers, turning metal blue white. The magnetic field thickened until compasses spun uselessly. Beneath the planet's surface, harmonics deepened from lullaby to drumbeat. Too late, Elara murmured. She hears everything. The deck buckled, flinging people off balance. In the chaos, a containment pod shattered. Sigma staggered free, larger now, ribs expanding with each tremor as if the very planet inflated its lungs through her. Sparks danced along her mane. She looked at Elara, not simply recognizing her, but reading her intention. The connection from that first day reignited. Earth-born neurons synchronizing with alien code. Elara felt raw knowledge surge. Mother's last command hadn't been farewell. It had been hatch. The Cubs were still evolving. Elara shouted over the roar. Stop fighting them. They're metamorphosing into... The ground split. A fountain of light erupted, swallowing the Vigilance in a silent explosion. When vision cleared, the warship hung midair, suspended by 6 golden beams rising from the Cubs. The creatures levitated together, forming a circle around the ship, voices weaving complex chords that reassembled shattered metal molecule by molecule. Rami blinked, stunned. They're repairing it. Or rewriting it, she whispered. Indeed. The Vigilance's hull reshaped, its insignia recasting into an unfamiliar symbol, half human letters, half the alien spiral signifying kinship. Then, through every comm line in the colony, a simultaneous transmission. We will not be moved. Mother still sleeps until balance holds. Touch us, and the planet forgets peace. The signal originated not from the Cubs, but from the ship they had just transformed. The Vigilance itself now spoke, its systems integrated with their consciousness. Captain Yarrow staggered out from behind a toppled panel, eyes wide at the glowing craft. What do they turn my ship into? Rami smiled grimly. An ambassador? For the next hour, silence returned, uneasy, alive. The Cubs curled beside the humming vessel, as if content. The storms receded. Mars inhaled again. Elara knelt beside Sigma, brushing scorched dust from her fur. You're making a world that sings itself calm, she whispered. But how long can harmony last when every human note carries fear? Sigma blinked slowly, a gesture almost human. Then she exhaled a faint sound that translated across the still air. Until you learn to listen. The words resonated across the canyons, bouncing endlessly, sinking into stone. They would keep echoing until someone human, alien, or something new finally answered truthfully. That answer, Elara realized, would decide whether Mars remained miracle or grave. Dawn crept across Gale Crater, as if afraid to disturb the silence. The warship Vigilance, now remade into a glowing sculpture of alloy and fur-like filaments, hovered above the base, purring softly. Each vibration carried through Mars's thin air, setting the dunes trembling in rhythm with a heartbeat far below. Dr. Elara Voss hadn't slept in 42 hours. She stood outside the fractured dome, wind tugging at her coat, eyes fixed on Sigma and the other Cubs. They had grown again, shoulders broadening, tails flicking sparks that vanished before touching ground. They looked less like animals now, more like fluid light, wearing fur for nostalgia's sake. Rami Okoro joined her, voice raw but determined. Every reading says the same thing. They're building pressure, like they're holding something inside. Or someone, Elara muttered. The vibrations underfoot felt familiar. Mother's slumber stirring again beneath the crust. From inside the hovering ship, Captain Yarrow's surviving crew watched helplessly. The vessel was alive, answering to the Cubs instead of any command. Still, it kept Yarrow breathing, fed oxygen, even repaired wounds. A twisted mercy. Elara stepped closer to Sigma. Tell me what you're doing. Do you plan to wake her? The Cub's new golden eyes reflected twin hazes of human exhaustion. A low hum escaped her throat, translating through implanted comms. Balance is temporary. Hatred lingers in your world. We cannot keep her asleep alone. The sand behind them rippled into patterns shaped eerily like sound waves. Energy spiked. Across orbit, satellites registered a rising frequency resonating with Earth's ionosphere. Somehow Mars was speaking to its neighbor. Rami realized it first. They're extending the harmony to Earth, trying to cleanse it. Cleanse. Elara asked, though she already knew, to beings built from resonance. Cleansing meant retuning, removing discordant notes. Humanity produced nothing but discord. She shook her head. Sigma, you'll kill millions. Sigma crouched low, as if sorrow weighed more than gravity. We remember war. So, do you? Less pain if we begin again. Elara's stomach turned cold. The Cubs intended to reset the evolutionary symphony. Restart both world to harmony's first note. A redemptive apocalypse. Then teach us the note instead, she pleaded. Let us carry it without erasing everything. For a moment, Sigma hesitated. The wind fell still. Her pupils pulsed like tiny eclipses. You would be guarantee of goodness? Elara didn't flinch. No guarantee. Only promise. And we're awful at keeping promises. But maybe that's why we keep making them. The ground thundered. Cracks of gold split the crater floor. The other Cubs gathered around Sigma. Together they exhaled, one continuous tone, half sob, half sunrise. It wrapped Elara and Rami in warmth that felt like forgiveness and farewell entwined. Then the light expanded. Through orbiting telescopes, distant colonists saw Mars blaze brighter than its sun for a heartbeat. When the brightness faded, communications flooded back, clearer than ever, each frequency carrying a translation header coded in fluent harmony. The vigilance rested gently on the sand. Hull reforged into an embassy. The Cubs were gone. No tracks, no ash, only a faint humming deep in the rocks. Rami wept without shame. They merged into the planet. Elara closed her eyes, senses straining. Beneath her boots she could feel a slow, steady pulse. Not destruction, not absence, but continuation. Sigma's voice whispered at the edge of hearing. We left the song in you. Use it before it uses you. Days later, when Earth's diplomats landed to claim their miracle world, they found a woman and a linguist waiting beside a ship that sang softly to itself. Elara greeted them with tired calm. Welcome to New Kepler. Please speak gently. The ground listens now. No one understood the warning until, weeks afterward, they realized every shouted order or shot fired across the colony simply dissolved, soundless, harmless, replaced by a faint golden chord. Harmony had teeth, peace a will of its own, and somewhere in the deep veins of the red planet, a pride of unseen lines dreamed humanity's next sentence into being, word by careful, translated word.